Ever wonder why some people seem to possess an almost unfair advantage when it comes to building wealth, effortlessly sidestepping financial pitfalls that, well, trip up the rest of us?
Hmm.
The answer, in large part, lies in understanding the hidden psychological forces, the behavioral science secrets, if you will, that subtly shape our financial decisions, and which the ultra-wealthy often navigate, consciously or not, to their benefit.
It's a fascinating and sometimes counterintuitive landscape, isn't it?
Right.
We often assume financial success is purely about, numbers and logic, but the truth is our minds play an incredibly powerful role in our ability to accumulate and preserve wealth.
Yeah.
When we examine the behavior of the ultra-wealthy through the lens of behavioral science, some really interesting patterns emerge.
Absolutely. And for you, the learner, you've curated a compelling collection of materials exploring success mindsets, wealth accumulation strategies, and the underlying psychology of financial behavior. Today, our deep dive into this material aims to uncover those critical behavioral science insights that illuminate the financial decision-making of the very wealthy. And crucially, to explore how you can strategically apply these understandings to accelerate your own wealth-building journey, regardless of your current financial standing.
Yeah, and we've got a diverse range of perspectives here, from practical advice and videos on cultivating a millionaire mindset to more nuanced discussions and articles about the habits of the financially successful,
Right.
and even some academic perspectives on how our psychological biases influence economic behavior. It's like piecing together a puzzle where behavioral science provides the key to understanding the complete picture.
Yeah, it's
Our goal is to extract those actionable behavioral science principles that ambitious individuals like yourself can use to make smarter, more wealth-enhancing financial choices.
precisely. So let's dive right in. One of the foundational concepts that surfaced early on is the distinction between an abundance and a scarcity mindset.
Oh, yeah.
The Wealthy Woman Mindset Shifts video really highlighted the importance of transitioning from seeing money as a limited pie to recognizing the potential for abundance in various aspects of life.
Yes, and this isn't just about wishful thinking. There's a well-established principle in behavioral science called selective attention. Essentially, our brains tend to focus on what we deem important or what we are actively looking for.
Okay.
So if your mental framework is dominated by a sense of scarcity, constantly worrying about not having enough room, you're more likely to notice and be affected by perceived limitations and miss out on potential opportunities that might be right in front of you.
Uh-huh.
As the video aptly put it, what you focus on expands.
Right. It's like if you're always thinking about bills and lack, your mind becomes attuned to those signals, potentially overshadowing opportunities for growth or, creative financial solutions.
Exactly.
The video suggests that consciously shifting your focus to gratitude for what you already possess, your skills, your home, your current income, can actually cultivate a feeling of abundance in the present.
And this feeling of present abundance can have a powerful psychological impact. It can reduce anxiety around money, fostering a more optimistic and proactive approach towards financial goals. It's about priming your mind to recognize and act on opportunities that align with growth, rather than being sort of paralyzed by fear of lack. Studies in positive psychology have shown that gratitude is linked to increased optimism and proactive behavior. So a tangible takeaway for you, the learner, is to make a daily practice of acknowledging and appreciating your current resources. This simple shift in focus can be surprisingly potent.
That makes perfect sense. Now, building on this idea of internal focus, another powerful psychological tool that seems prevalent among the wealthy is the use of affirmations and actively working to reprogram their minds for success. The Wealthy Woman Mindset Shifts video discussed repeating positive statements like, I am a wealthy woman, or everything always works out for me. It might sound a bit simplistic on the surface, but what's the underlying behavioral science at play?
At its core, this relates to the concept of self-talk and its profound influence on our beliefs and subsequent actions. Consistent positive affirmations can strengthen your sense of self-efficacy. That is, your belief in your own competence and ability to succeed in specific situations.
Right, self-efficacy.
Yeah. Research in psychology has repeatedly shown that higher self-efficacy is linked to greater effort, persistence, and ultimately better outcomes. By repeatedly affirming positive financial outcomes and your ability to achieve them, you're essentially building a stronger internal narrative of success.
So it's about creating a positive feedback loop. If you genuinely believe you're capable of achieving wealth, you're more likely to take the actions necessary to make it a reality, even if those actions involve some discomfort or risk.
Precisely.
And this ties into the concept of money status scripts we saw in the psychology of wealth, doesn't it?
Exactly. That research indicated that among high-income earners, there was a strong correlation between endorsing beliefs such as self-worth and net worth are intertwined and actually achieving that high income. This suggests that this deep-seated belief can be a powerful motivator and driver of financial ambition for some.
But here's a crucial point that the research also highlighted. Prior studies with more diverse income groups found that these same money status scripts were often linked to negative financial behaviors.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like this powerful psychological association can be a double-edged sword. While it might fuel ambition for some, for others, it could lead to unhealthy fixations or risky behaviors driven by a need to validate their self-worth through their net worth.
That's a critical nuance and a perfect example of how behavioral science reveals the complexities of wealth psychology. It underscores that while a strong drive for financial success can be beneficial, it's essential to ensure that it's rooted in healthy self-esteem rather than an unhealthy dependence on external validation through wealth.
Okay, that makes sense.
So for you, the learner, the actionable insight isn't just to blindly repeat affirmations, but to become consciously aware of your own underlying beliefs about money and self-worth. Identify any limiting or unhealthy beliefs and experiment with positive affirmations in a way that builds genuine self-efficacy without creating a fragile sense of worth tied solely to your financial status.
That's a really important distinction.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to another recurring theme. The power of our social environment and the importance of surrounding ourselves with success. The Wealthy Woman Mindset Shifts video emphasize the value of networking with successful individuals, seeking out mentors, and even drawing inspiration from online communities.
Absolutely. The behavioral science principle at play here is social proof. We are inherently social creatures, and we often look to the behavior and achievements of those around us, especially those we admire or perceive as successful, to guide our own beliefs and actions. Seeing others achieve ambitious financial goals can normalize those goals in our own minds and make them feel more attainable. It can also provide us with valuable insights, strategies, and support.
It's like if you're consistently surrounded by people who are actively pursuing and achieving financial milestones, it creates a different kind of normal and can, well, raise your own bar for what you believe is possible.
Exactly.
This aligns perfectly with the habits of highly successful billionaires. Idea of intentional networking. It's not just about collecting business cards, but about building meaningful relationships with individuals who can inspire, challenge, and guide you.
Precisely. It's about proactively curating your social environment to support your financial aspirations. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting ties with old friends, but rather intentionally cultivating new relationships with individuals who embody the kind of financial success and mindset you aspire to. Seek out mentors who have walked the path you want to tread. Engage in communities, online or offline, where ambitious financial goals are discussed and celebrated. The actionable takeaway here is to consciously audit your network and take steps to build connections with people who inspire your financial growth.
Okay, let's shift our focus to an area that might feel a bit more daunting for some. Embracing risk and overcoming the fear of failure.
Ah, yes.
Risk, the billionaire behaviors and habits you can copy, video boldly stated that many billionaires took risks so large that most people told them they would fail.
Yes, and this highlights a key difference in how some ultra-wealthy individuals approach risk compared to the general population. Our natural human tendency, rooted in evolutionary biology, is towards risk aversion. Behavioral economics has extensively documented this, with prospect theory being a prime example, showing that the psychological pain of a loss often outweighs the pleasure of an equivalent gain.
Loss aversion, yeah.
Right. This loss aversion can lead to overly cautious financial decisions. The ultra-wealthy, through experience, mindset, or perhaps a different framing of potential outcomes, might have a different tolerance or perspective on risk.
The video even provided some powerful examples to illustrate this point, mentioning how Elon Musk and Tesla teetered on the brink of failure and Richard Branson faced near collapse with Virgin Airways.
Wow.
It's a stark reminder that even for those who achieve immense wealth, taking significant risks involves the very real possibility of substantial losses.
Exactly. It's not about being reckless or, throwing caution to the wind. Instead, it suggests a mindset of calculated risk-taking, where potential rewards are carefully weighed against potential downsides, and where failure is not seen as a final outcome, but rather as a learning opportunity. As the habits of highly successful billionaires video pointed out, Failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of the journey. This reframing of failure is crucial. Behavioral science shows that how we frame a situation significantly impacts our emotional response and our willingness to take future action.
So the actionable takeaway for you, the learner, isn't to suddenly start making impulsive high-stakes bets. Instead, it's about consciously evaluating your own risk tolerance, understanding your biases towards loss aversion, and considering calculated risks that align with your long-term financial objectives.
Uh-huh.
Importantly, it's also about cultivating a mindset that views setbacks not as definitive failures, but as valuable learning experiences that can inform future decisions.
That ability to learn and adapt from setbacks is absolutely critical for long-term success,
Right.
which leads nicely into the next area we should explore. The principle of prioritization and focus, often exemplified by the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule.
Ah, yes, the 80-20. The Top 5 Habits of Billionaires video highlighted Jeff Bezos' practice of making only 3 decisions a day, and the general application of the Pareto principle, the idea that roughly 20% of your efforts will yield 80% of your results.
Right.
This seems incredibly efficient and a way to avoid getting bogged down in less important tasks.
It is indeed. From a behavioral science perspective, this speaks to the importance of overcoming cognitive biases like effort heuristic, where we tend to equate the amount of effort we put into something with its value or impact.
Right, busy work feels productive.
Exactly. We can easily get caught up in busy work that provides a sense of accomplishment but doesn't actually move us closer to our key financial goals. By consciously identifying and focusing on the vital few tasks that will generate the most significant results, the ultra-wealthy maximize their time and energy.
The video mentioned Tim Cook's simple but powerful filter. Will this move the company forward? If the answer is no, he doesn't prioritize it.
Great filter.
And Elon Musk's well-known practice of time blocking also underscores this intense focus on the most important tasks.
These are practical strategies for implementing ruthless prioritization. By consciously identifying your high-impact activities and dedicating focused time to them, while learning to say no to distractions and less important tasks, you can significantly increase your productivity and accelerate your progress towards your financial goals.
So the actionable point.
The actionable takeaway here is to identify the 20% of your activities that are driving 80% of your desired outcomes and to ruthlessly prioritize those while minimizing your involvement in the less impactful 80%.
This next habit seems to be a consistent trait among many highly successful individuals, not just billionaires. A commitment to lifelong learning and a strong sense of intellectual curiosity.
Absolutely. The top 5 habits of billionaires and the 18 habits of self-made millionaires and billionaires both heavily emphasize this. Warren Buffett's renowned habit of spending a significant portion of his day reading is a prime example.
Yeah, like 80% or something crazy.
Right. This continuous pursuit of knowledge isn't just about accumulating facts. It's about expanding perspective and fostering adaptability. As Naveen Jain was quoted in 18 Habits, the most important trait to have is intellectual curiosity. As long as you have the courage to question, you have the opportunity to change the world.
It makes intuitive sense. In a rapidly evolving world, staying stagnant is a recipe for being left behind, especially in finance and business. What's the behavioral science perspective on why this continuous learning is so crucial?
Well, continuous learning combats cognitive biases like confirmation bias, where we tend to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs and ignore contradictory evidence.
The echo chamber.
Exactly. By constantly exposing yourself to new ideas and perspectives, you challenge your assumptions and become more open to identifying new opportunities and potential risks. Think about Bill Gates reportedly reading around 50 books a year to gain different perspectives.
50 books.
Or Elon Musk famously teaching himself rocket science through extensive reading. This proactive acquisition of knowledge fuels innovation and better decision-making.
So the actionable takeaway is to make learning a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. It doesn't require dedicating vast amounts of time each day, but consistent engagement with learning resources relevant to your financial goals and your broader intellectual interests can have a significant compounding effect over time, keeping you adaptable and informed.
Precisely. And it nurtures that vital intellectual curiosity that can lead to unexpected breakthroughs and opportunities. Now, this next point might seem somewhat surprising in a discussion about billionaires, but several of our sources touched upon the significance of generosity and cultivating an abundance mindset that extends beyond mere material accumulation.
Right. Lewis Howes, in his conversation with Jay Shetty, specifically spoke about the power of a generous mindset and the importance of gratitude as a foundation for creating abundance, even when one feels like they don't have much to give.
Hmm.
And Jay Shetty shared that beautiful cultural tradition of respecting even small amounts of money, like pennies.
Yes, the Lakshmi story. These examples highlight that generosity isn't necessarily about writing massive checks once you've reached a certain level of wealth. It's a way of interacting with the world and with others.
Okay.
From a behavioral science standpoint, generosity can foster stronger social connections and a sense of reciprocity. When you give to others, it can create a positive feedback loop, strengthening relationships and potentially leading to unexpected benefits down the line.
Interesting.
And gratitude, as we discussed earlier, reinforces an abundance mindset by shifting your focus to what you have rather than what you lack.
It's fascinating how these seemingly softer qualities can have a tangible impact on financial well-being. It suggests that wealth building isn't solely a selfish pursuit, but can be intertwined with positive social interactions and a sense of purpose beyond just, accumulating more money.
It seems so.
So the actionable takeaway here is to actively look for opportunities to be generous in your interactions, whether it's with your time, your knowledge, or your resources, and to cultivate a daily practice of gratitude for what you already have.
Absolutely. And this next point is absolutely crucial for sustained wealth building. Adopting a long-term perspective and actively mitigating short-term biases.
Yes, the long game. Dana Riley, in his interview, discussed how our irrational psychological tendencies can often sabotage our long-term financial goals, emphasizing the need for pre-commitment strategies and automation to counteract these impulses.
Right?
And the article on behavioral finance highlighted the importance of sticking to a well-diversified portfolio, even during market downturns, when our emotions might be screaming at us to sell. Remember 2008?
Oh, yeah. Painful. These are excellent examples of how behavioral finance principles play out in the real world. Concepts like present bias, which leads us to heavily favor immediate gratification over future rewards.
The marshmallow test, basically.
Pretty much. And the powerful influence of emotions like fear and greed during market volatility can severely derail long-term investment strategies. The ultra-wealthy often understand this and implement systems like automated savings and investments to remove the temptation for impulsive, emotionally driven decisions.
It's like building a psychological firewall against our own worst financial instincts. So the actionable takeaway is to develop a clear, long-term financial plan and to automate key aspects of it, such as savings and investments, as much as possible. This helps to minimize the impact of short-term emotional impulses on your overall wealth-building trajectory.
That proactive planning and automation are essential for staying the course. Finally, we have the intriguing idea of cultivating an investment mindset that extends beyond just your financial portfolio.
The Powerful Mindset Shifts article touched on this, suggesting that even our leisure time can be viewed through an investment lens. Is it time that is recharging you and enhancing your future productivity, or is it purely for immediate consumption with no long-term benefit? It's a really interesting way to frame our choices.
It truly is. It's about shifting your fundamental perspective. When you adopt an investment mindset in various areas of your life, you start to see opportunities for growth and development where you might not have before.
Like investing in skills or even rest.
Exactly. This could involve investing time in learning a new skill, building valuable relationships, or even prioritizing activities that enhance your physical and mental well-being, recognizing that these all contribute to your long-term success and capacity to generate wealth. It's about consciously seeking out activities that offer a future return, not just immediate pleasure.
So the actionable takeaway is to consciously try to cultivate this investment mindset in various aspects of your life. Ask yourself how you're spending your time and energy and whether those activities are contributing to your long-term growth and well-being, not just providing, fleeting enjoyment.
Exactly. It's about viewing your life holistically and recognizing that investments in yourself, your skills, and your relationships are all integral to building lasting wealth and fulfillment.
Okay, let's quickly recap some of the key behavioral science secrets we've uncovered today. Cultivating an abundance mindset, the strategic use of affirmations with self-awareness, the power of a supportive network,
Social proof.
embracing calculated risks and learning from setbacks, ruthless prioritization of high-impact activities, the critical importance of lifelong learning,
Curiosity.
the unexpected benefits of generosity, the necessity of long-term thinking and avoiding short-term biases, and the value of adopting an investment mindset in all areas of life.
And It's crucial to remember, the learner, that these aren't some magical, exclusive traits reserved for billionaires. These are fundamental psychological principles that anyone can understand and consciously apply to their own financial journey.
Yeah.
The beauty of behavioral science is that by understanding these hidden influences, you become empowered to make more informed and effective decisions.
Precisely. Recognizing these inherent biases and psychological tendencies is the first and most powerful step. It allows you to identify where your own thinking might be holding you back, and to strategically leverage these insights to accelerate your progress towards your financial goals.
So as you reflect on our deep dive today, consider this. What is one specific behavioral science insight that resonated most with you? And what small, concrete step can you take in the next 24 hours to start consciously applying that principle in your own financial life? Becoming more aware of your own financial psychology might just be the most valuable and perhaps the most underappreciated asset in your wealth building strategy.
Powerful food for thought indeed. If this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, we encourage you to revisit the sources you shared with this new behavioral science lens, or to delve further into the fascinating fields of behavioral economics and the psychology of wealth. The journey of understanding your own mind is a lifelong investment in itself.